We often assume that using complex language makes us sound more authoritative and intelligent. However, trying too hard to look smart usually has the exact opposite effect. 1. Confusing complexity with intelligence. Cognitive psychology calls this processing fluency. This describes how easily our brains can handle and digest new information. When you use big words, you force the listener to work harder to understand you. This extra effort creates a subconscious friction that people mistake for a lack of clarity. Imagine using heavy industry jargon during a casual dinner conversation with your friends. Instead of being impressed, your friends might feel like you are lecturing them. Research suggests people rate simple, clear writing as more intelligent than dense prose. When you hide behind fancy language, others assume you are masking a lack of depth. Think about the last time you used a complex term just to sound prepared. Did it actually help the conversation, or did it just create a wall? True mastery is the ability to explain a difficult concept to a 6-year-old. If you can't make it simple, people will likely conclude that you don't understand it yourself. The words you choose are only the beginning of how others perceive your mind. You have likely noticed how some people always seem to have an answer ready. 2. Rushing to answer every question immediately. The human brain often perceives a silent pause as a social threat. To stop the discomfort, we blurt out the first thought that comes to mind. Cognitive psychology calls this behavior cognitive impulsivity. It means prioritizing speed over the quality of your response. Imagine a colleague is explaining a complex problem to you. Before they can even finish, you jump in with a suggested solution. You assume you already know where their story is going. However, you often miss the specific details that actually matter. When your quick answer turns out wrong, your credibility takes a hit. Others begin to see you as someone who speaks before they think. Ask yourself if you feel a physical urge to fill every silence. Do you find it difficult to wait 3 seconds before speaking up? Thoughtful people use silence to process information properly. When you finally do speak, your words carry much more weight. Others will respect your input because it is clearly well considered. Try slowing down your reaction time in your next conversation. Wanting to be fast is just one way we sabotage our image. We often assume that standing our ground is a sign of a strong mind. 3. The need to be right every time. Psychology calls the refusal to change your mind belief perseverance. This happens when your ego treats a mistake as a threat to your identity. Instead of updating your view, you simply dig your heels in deeper. Real intelligence is the ability to adjust when you learn something new. Imagine you are in a debate and someone presents an undeniable fact. Rather than acknowledging it, you argue about a tiny, irrelevant detail. You might even dismiss their source just to avoid saying you were wrong. To the people watching, you do not look like a winner. You look like someone who is incapable of high-level problem solving. Others stop bringing you their best ideas because you won't listen. You become a bottleneck while trading your reputation for a moment of pride. Notice if you feel a physical tightness in your chest when corrected. That reaction is your brain trying to protect a version of you that never fails. But true intelligence is found in the space where you can admit mistakes. When you value truth over image, people naturally trust your mind more. It takes real mental strength to say, "I hadn't thought of it that way." Next time you are challenged, see the correction as a free knowledge upgrade. Admitting a mistake does not make you weak, it makes you look objective. Being right is satisfying, but being open signals brilliance to the whole room. When you cling to every old idea, you leave no room for the better ones. The smartest person in the room is usually the one most willing to be wrong. It is easy to believe that fitting in is the same as being smart. 4. Mimicking the loudest voice in the room. Psychology calls this groupthink, where we prioritize harmony over critical thinking. When you simply parrot a popular opinion, you stop performing independent analysis. Observers quickly notice when your arguments are just echoes of someone else. Imagine you are in a high-stakes meeting about a new project. The manager suggests a plan that you know is deeply flawed. Instead of speaking up, you nod along and repeat their exact words. You might think this makes you look like a supportive team player. In reality, it makes you appear lacking in original substance. You become a follower who is easily replaced by anyone else. Strategic thinkers are valued for their ability to spot unique risks. If you never offer a different perspective, your presence carries no weight. Think about the last time you agreed with a group consensus. Did you truly believe the idea, or were you just seeking safety? Intelligence is often demonstrated through the courage to be different. You do not have to be argumentative to show you are thinking. Simply asking a clarifying question can signal a high level of engagement. It shows you are processing information rather than just absorbing it. People will start to look to you for your specific point of view. Breaking away from the echo chamber is where your real value lies. Ignoring the group is easy compared to facing your own internal gaps. Nothing reveals a lack of depth faster than trying to look like an expert in everything. 5. Ignoring your own limits. Cognitive psychology calls this the Dunning-Kruger Effect. This happens when someone with low ability overestimates how much they actually know. They lack the specific skill needed to recognize their own knowledge gaps. This creates a dangerous blind spot where you feel confident but look incompetent. Imagine claiming to be an expert on world news after reading one social media headline. You might speak loudly simply because you don't realize how much you are missing. True experts can see exactly where your knowledge ends and your guessing begins. When you pretend to know everything, you lose the trust of those who actually do. They eventually stop taking your input seriously, even when you have a good point. Think about the last time you felt forced to have an opinion on something new. Did you admit you were still learning, or did you try to fake it? Real intelligence isn't about having all the answers at your fingertips right now. It is about knowing the exact boundaries of your own current understanding. Saying, "I don't know," is often the smartest thing you can do in a conversation. It invites people to teach you instead of judging you for pretending. Ultimately, looking smart is far less valuable than actually being wise. The truth is, your brain is far more respected when it is honest. Remember, the most brilliant minds are those that never stop asking questions.